Hello everyone, welcome. I thought I'd do a bit of a market analysis video with all of the excitement and hype that we're seeing in the market with silver, and I thought I'd do an overvalued, undervalued analysis of what's going on. So, as my community really loves Telcoin, I thought I'd just talk about Telcoin. I currently think it's undervalued at 0035. It had the Kraken listing, didn't see much volume from that. I think the volume's still coming, and I think that the next one I'm sharing is taking most of the volume, which is gold. Do I think gold is undervalued or overvalued? Now that's the question, isn't it? That's the real question that everyone's asking. I think with all of the supply shortages around the world, that even though it's heavily above its 100 and 200 moving average, I think gold will still continue to rally, and the American market hasn't even opened up yet on Tuesday, Tuesday for Australia, Monday for America. So I think gold still has quite a bit to go, even though my strategy is normally to buy the 100 or 200 moving average. Now silver, something that I bought back down in September of last year at about 30 US dollars an ounce. And I've also been holding physical silver for quite a few years, at least 5 years. Um, we see a massive rally well and truly above the 100 moving average, which is currently sitting at 37 an ounce. It just broke above 100 US dollars an ounce on Friday afternoon before the market closed, and this morning on opening it hit 109 US dollars. So I think definitely that's got until 115 before resistance, but who knows what will happen, whether big companies like Tesla have to buy more to be able to produce their solar panels, or semiconductor companies probably need to buy a big bulk amount of silver to produce what they're creating. So I would say silver is still undervalued, even though it's heavily above its fair value price, and its RSI as well. I'll pull up that RSI. RSI is saying heavily overvalued as well. So I've currently got my liquidity index chart here that I made. It's saying that was the resistance there. I'm pretty much in price discovery at this point. So let's continue. UFO. UFO is it's an ETF for space stocks, and I find this one particularly interesting. It's obviously in a do not buy zone for me because it's outside of my strategy. And over the 8 years of investing and trading that I've done, I've just chosen to be really consistent with buying this moving average. I've got my Fibonacci levels there. Probably can move that up now to there. So where it could retrace back down to would be 40 US dollars would be the, what's that? I think I've got this reversed actually. I'll just undo that. I was doing some extensions earlier for my analysis. I just reversed that. I think that's right. So it could do a 23.6% retracement, or all the way down to 31 for the 50 retracement. The golden ratio is probably a bit too low, but I could see it retracing back to this white level here and down here when its rally finishes, of course. Now, because I'll pull it up as well, because the ISM is showing contraction, which is over here, it's meant to be above the 50 level. 50 is, not sure how that line dropped, but it did on the journey. We're heavily undervalued in terms of risk assets perform very well when this is above 50, and gold, defense, consumer, defensive, they all perform well when things are below this green line here. So I was back, so let's have a look back here. So Donald Trump's just finished his first year in office, and that was around January. Now, what we were expecting was we saw a bit of a build-up as we knew he was getting elected. This line here, moving from 47 to 49, I remember it vividly. That was when we knew for sure he was going to get elected, right? And then dropped, and then his inauguration was January 20th, and we thought the market would break above, because he was talking about being so pro and so good, but then all of the tariffs hit. And that's what this here represents, is all the tariffs. And this has been the up and down tariff kind of war, different wars starting and ending, things like that. This has kind of been the whitewash of 2025. Now, 2026 is particularly bad in terms of the ISM, because it's pulled down to a local low of 47.8, around that area. And this is big reason why your altcoins are suffering, Bitcoin's suffering, like gold's doing very well, silver's doing well, defense stocks are doing well. It's because of this. So this is obviously the key metric I'm watching. Make sure you go check out my video, my article that I posted 2 days ago about the ISM, gold and Bitcoin. And let's continue. So Atom, this is it's kind of for Australian users mainly. It's a uranium ETF, but the same principle applies. I just put a little bit here, like if it drops, I'll buy that. If it drops, I'll buy that. So yeah, obviously I've got my portfolio on the right here, but I would say that uranium currently is, let's have a quick look. I would say long-term undervalued, short-term neutral. I think with gold and silver rallies, uranium, all the different metals will do well. Copper, titanium, all of that, palladium, they'll all do pretty well. So I think it'll continue to rally, but will I choose now to add it to my long-term portfolio? I've been buying this for about 12 to 18 months now. Probably not right now, because I really want to look for it to touch. Now, if this moving average moved up, say here, and it came down and touched it, yeah, I'd probably buy at that moving average. XRP, I think XRP is heavily undervalued. I think, having been to their conferences and meeting Brad Garlinghouse, Monica Long, David Schwartz, I think I'm very bullish on the future of this company and this network, the XRP network. Just fix up some of this mess from different thoughts I was doing. It's showing negative momentum, but it's a bit of a classic flag. Like if I just copy this one, pull it over, it's pretty much the same flag, which technically makes it a fractal because it copied the same pattern. We're below average price, we're showing negative momentum. We're down at my liquidity level, very close to those levels, and you know, short-term pump 69%. Yeah, that's XRP. I think it's got a very bright future ahead. Semi is a staple for me. I think everyone should be including this into their portfolio. You know, for me, every month I'm trying to buy this. I'm trying to diversify and buy into my portfolio. So I think it's got a very bright future. Do I think it's overpriced? I think it's neutral right now. I think I want to buy it when it touches these moving averages. Same old story with me. I want to buy fair value on incredible high CAGR, compounded annual growth rates, high CAGR things. And I did a post today. This is a good pivot actually. I did a post about my 30-year wealth engine that I'm teaching my kids. And I talked a lot about semiconductors. Every device needs one. And I talked about how the most important investment every year over 100 years, which is this article, you can see semiconductors is yellow. From 1930s till now, semiconductors remained one of the dominant winning assets for the future. So for me, it's going to be a huge part of my portfolio. And even though it seems like it's quite overvalued right now relative to the moving average and the RSI, it is definitely a long-term hold. Robo, I think Robo is probably a bit more overheated than I'd like, even though Tesla's quite down. So if we compare that with Tesla, so if we look over the weekly, just delete that at the little curve. How did I go to logarithmic? Something happened to my chart here. Cool, I think that's fixed now. Yeah, So well, that's an old zone that I had in there. This is Tesla still, right? Yeah, cool. On the weekly, on the daily, just having a quick look. So Tesla's an interesting one. It's down at the moving average, so this would be a buy signal for short-term buys. Let's have a look at the weekly again. Weekly, it's overpriced compared to the weekly. Monthly, it's done pretty well compared to the monthly, but it's done pretty well throughout. You know, it had some hard years and it's had some amazing years, some sideways years. Looks like based on this, on the monthly, that it's breaking out of that 417 level, and a break above this would help it enter price discovery. What was this rally? That was a massive rally. I don't, because of the economy of scale, I don't necessarily see it going that high, but even like a half of that or a quarter of that, yeah. So do I think Tesla is under or overvalued? I think it's probably fair valued at the moment, and it's about to break out in the future, and it's likely to break out when the ISM breaks out. Okay, Coinbase. Now, Coinbase is a infrastructure play and a crypto infrastructure play. I think that it's going to do very well with custodian, with what's the word? Being a custodian for institutions and ETFs and sovereign funds and things like that. I think when you look at it right now, I'll just get through this mess. It's below the channel, which is in black. So it's hard to see, but it's in black there. It's broken below the 100 moving average, which shows it's below fair value for me. That's how I read it. And it's kind of near a level of demand. I'd call this, I'll show you with the box. I'd call this a bit of a demand zone. So it's inside that demand zone, and I think it's inside a buy area personally, particularly with the negativity surrounding the company, the Clarity Act, say that Brian Armstrong is playing political game and it's asymmetrically down relative to the fundamentals. Hood is one that I love. I would say it's undervalued. I think it's got a very bright future. And when you look at the daily, I would say that it is undervalued and it's about to touch the 200-day moving average. Broadcom, AVGO, I'd say is an essential for anyone's portfolio. It's one of the most successful companies in history, but it's also quite undervalued relative to Nvidia. It's only got a 1.5 trillion market cap relative to Nvidia. I'll just quickly check what that is again. I forgot. Nvidia. So we go down here. 4.5. Yeah, so it's about 3 times lower than Nvidia. The main difference is that Nvidia provides like mass market GPUs and semiconductor chips, whereas Broadcom is a lot more custom and helps people get established inside the ecosystem and hard to get out once they're inside. So I'd say they're probably more like an Apple type stock, and Nvidia would be more like an Android, but you can argue with me if that's true or not. So AVGO, undervalued. GDLC, I would say that it is undervalued. In fact, I'm buying more. It's well and truly below the moving averages. It's hitting the Fibonacci golden ratio. And yeah, I am buying pretty much each month to accumulate more. Crypt, I really like Crypt as well. I think it's in my buy zone. It's between undervalued and fair valued relative to the daily moving average. Yeah, I think it's a buy. Dell is undervalued for sure. Great company. What are they saying here? So technicals is saying sell just because it's down, but for me that means undervalued. Bit of a contrarian take. Fundamentals saying buy. It's suggesting $162 level. I probably will have this as a long-term hold inside my 30-year strategy. Let me just remind you of these blog posts. So I wrote an article showing the ISM index, manufacturing index, and its relation to gold and Bitcoin and Fed rates as well. This is a really good one to go and read. Check it out on my X page. Back to this. So Dell, I think, is a long-term hold. Michael Dell seems to be interested in Bitcoin and will probably get into it in the future. He's also doing a lot of semiconductor work, AI work, data center work, all stuff that's going to perform very well in the future. And it's down, let's see, it's down 52%, which looks like a good entry to me. But doesn't mean it won't continue to go down. In fact, it probably will. And just as a disclaimer, everything I'm saying is contrarian. So I believe that this is the main metric to be watching. And when this is down, risk assets are down. And when this is down, gold defensive is up, which is pretty true. Let's have a look at silver, shall we? Silver's at 106 or 107, I think, 108. It's, range bound between 105, 109. Not range bound, it's going parabolic actually. But yeah, it's in that zone today. Gold, 50.72. H-bar, I would say it's down, but I think alts are going to continue to struggle. But for me, it'll probably be a wait and see. Intel is an interesting one. I shouted Intel out back in, I think, September. It was around here. I shouted Intel out, $25 a share. It's a very political game. I would say it's still undervalued, even though it's above my moving averages. Bitcoin at any price is good. It's long-term investment, doing really well. Again, if you see numbers on my charts, it's just what I'll be doing to dollar cost average and accumulate over time. I'm buying every month. So accumulation over time is the key. Total. So the total crypto market cap is down. It's undervalued. In fact, it was only 2 weeks ago that it was $500 billion more valuable. So it's down. NDQ, I'd say, is heavily undervalued. You've got my liquidity level here saying it's at support level. It's below its 200 4-hour moving average. And I think that's everything from me. So my suggestion, go have a read of these blogs that I've written on X. Best investment every year for 100 years. It's very interesting. Have a read of part 1 of my 30-year wealth engine and have a read of what's next for gold and Bitcoin. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know. And again, none of this is financial advice. It's just my opinion, and I'm sharing analysis with you to hopefully take full responsibility of your investment decisions. Thanks, everyone. Bye.